Hello everyone, some of you may remember a while ago we did do a video called 10 reviews in 10 minutes, and one of the products in that video was the unofficial released Mybo Certo X2. And as promised, we said once they gain their official release and once they come out properly, we do a more fleshed out and in-depth review of them. So they have been out for quite some time now, and we do tend to get three main questions from them. And the first being, what is the difference between this and the original Certo, which was Mybo's best-selling rod? But first, before we get into that, I want to quickly talk about what Mybo have said about the Certos themselves. So originally they said it's something they don't want to call a brand new product. It is still a Certo rod, it's just refined, it's not necessarily an overhaul of the entire thing, it's just more of a refinement. The Certo did come out 4 years ago, so they prefer to just stick with it and improve it as the years go on. They want to more focus on what they call the philosophy of continual improvement, and that's something like moving forwards with a product rather than scrapping it and starting from new, just advancing with what they've already got. Back to the question at hand though, what is the difference? So visually, I think the Certo X2 has made the most changes visually. It's definitely strayed away from the original. So the original looked a bit like this. It had multiple colors, so this is a silver one I pulled out here. It kind of faded to a black at the end. All of the Certos originally looked like this. And I feel like the sparkles and the shine in the original Certos it didn't age too well. They fell out of fashion quite quickly. But comparing that to the new X2s, they've taken that into account. So it's no longer spray painted and lacquered. It is just the bare carbon weave that travels all the way through the rod. This is also the only color it comes in. So you're not going to have to worry about any color clashing with your gear. You're not going to have to worry about your favorite color being out of stock. This is the only shade it comes in. Some Stabiliser rods that appear to be carbon are actually film dipped or wrapped. But luckily it's not a wrap, so it is really smooth to the touch. Feels amazing, to be honest. It's really nice and crisp. I know this is weird to say, but I genuinely do like taking photos of these. They're really photogenic for a product. Very beautiful as well. The studio lights that kind of bounce off and show the really nice matte reflection that they give off. I generally do like taking videos and photos of these when they're out and about. I guarantee the first compliment on these stabilizers you're going to get is how nice they look. The minimal cosmetics on them are also super cool. So if you look down here next to the X2, there is 3 symbols. They're both silver, gold and black, sticking with that bling color scheme. The first one resembles the carbon material it's made from, if you were wondering. Second one's quite obvious, the accuracy and aim the stabilizer gives you. And finally, the third one is the vibration dampening that all stabilizers will try and aid with. Another aspect of the Certo X2 stabilizer is it is now lighter and slightly thinner. So it is now a 19mm tube down from the 20mm that the old Certo used to be. It is a slightly different change, but if you're wondering why they've done this, they still managed to maintain the same stiffness the old Certo would have, just a tiny bit thinner. I feel like moving forwards with technology and advancing, much like with a lot of high-tech gear nowadays, going slimmer seems to be the way forward. It seems to be the more modern way of doing things. Chunkier and bulkier things seem to be slowly becoming less and less popular as time moves on, less and less kind of visually appealing as well. So definitely a good choice to slim down just the tiniest bit. Speaking of sizes as well, these guys come in 3 different lengths. There is the 27-inch, the 30-inch and the 33-inch, very standard stabilizer lengths, as well as with the short rods. These guys come in 10 inches, 12 inches and 15 inches, and they also rock the same design as the large long rod as well, just more compacted down. The X2s are actually joining the club of having an internal foam dampener now as well. So that means there's an optimized foam dampener at the base of the tube just to reduce the vibration a bit more. The back bushing has also seen some attention to detail, as well as the front being more streamlined and lighter. Also, they've changed it a little bit, so the weights kind of slide on a lot more smoother. So if I just unscrew this one, you can see just a couple of spins, it goes all the way back down. I think other stabilizers have issues where their weights don't necessarily screw on completely, but these ones just nice quick spin, easy as that. Whilst we're down here as well, you've probably noticed already, the weights have gone under quite a major change as well. These guys are now a lot narrower and a lot flatter. They're also lighter as well, which is pretty cool. The old Certo weights used to be 1.3 ounces and a double would be 2.6 ounces. Therefore, these ones have had like a little bit shaved off by about 0.3 ounces. They are now 1 ounce and 2 ounces, and they also come in a new quad compactability one, so that'll be 4 ounces that you can now buy separately as well. So the reason behind the flattening of the weights and shaving a little bit of weight off as well is for people who like to have quite a lot of weights on the end of their stabilizers. So it reduces what's called the stacking distance of the stabilizer. So if you have quite a wide weight and quite a tall weight, the more weights you put on, the longer your stabilizer is going to get. A longer rod is more likely to be caught by the wind. In comparison to the old Certos, you'd be surprised looking at these two, thinking they were actually about the same weight. They're also nicely laser engraved. I don't know if you can spot here, but you can see they've got the nice finished Mybo logo on there and the 2 ounce symbol there just to tell you which ones they are, if you can't tell already. Really nicely finished, and if we're going to go right down to the detail as well, these guys also have etched in little grips as well, just to make it easier to twist and turn and get the weights off. Really nice. I think they kind of add to the aesthetic as well. It's great how they still line up with the end of the stabilizer, and just all in general looks nice and clumped at the end. Nice and compact, just how you want your stabilizer to be. Finally, the most probably appreciated part about the X2 weights is 4 ounces worth do come free with the X2 when you first get it. So these weights move on down to a very nice and simple and flexible silicone damper. So this moves on nicely to the next, and the second question we get asked the most is actually about the dampers. How much X2 weights can you put on the end of your damper? And luckily we have a Mybo staff shooter's bow here for us to demonstrate that. So this is Ollie's bow, I'll just grab it. Now, thanks to Ollie, one of the Mybo staff shooters, his stabilizer setup is a perfect example for this. For the dampener to work effectively, like we mentioned earlier for the X2s, a minimum of 2 ounces worth of weight is required, and up to around 6 ounces. It's best experimenting with your own setup, slowly climbing in weights after a few weeks to see what settles, to see what best suits you and what gives you the best feeling. Ollie's setup here shows if you do like having heavier setups, you should put any further weights before the damper. This is to avoid damaging the damper itself by overloading it and putting too much strain on the flexibility. So that leaves us with the third and final question we always tend to get asked, and that is, what should I shoot it with? Should I be using compound or recurve or both? And the correct answer to that is it's suitable for all compounds and the occasional recurve. And the reason for this is because the Certo X2s are designed for heavier loadout. So that means anything, if you're shooting too light with a recurve, is going to negatively affect your bow. We've approximately put the poundage 34 pounds and below. If you're shooting lighter than that, you are going to start to feel the problems, as well as having too little weights on the end as well. We've put it down to about, you need about 2 ounces of weights, otherwise you are going to feel it even more so on your recurve bow. But overall, all out, it works for every compound bow. It's just you've got to find kind of heavier recurves if you do want to kind of manage that properly. So overall, what's my verdict on the X2s? It's not like what Mybo did with the origin into the edge. It's still definitely a Certo rod. Like I said at the beginning, it's a refinement of the Certo. There is still some great qualities that carried over from the old Certo 4 years later into the X2, kind of making sure all of the modern technology gets involved with this product. It gets to the top of the line again, and I think it's great. It's definitely worthwhile picking it up. They've done a really superb job of bringing it back to life, revitalizing the Certo. You know, overall, I mean, I kept going on about how great they look as well. Definitely going to outshine everyone else in the fields and wherever you're going to be shooting one of these. Definitely really appealing. I want one of these on my bow, to be honest. The carbon finish just in general steals me away. Visually, everything looks great, and mechanically, everything works just as well, or even better than the old Certo. So definitely worth looking into. The long rods are, I believe, 129 pounds. It doesn't matter what length you go for, the 27, 30, 33, they're all priced the same, 129. So the 10 and the 12 inch are both just 79 pounds, and it's just an extra 10 pounds for the 15 inch one as well. The weights, I can't quite remember off the top of my head. I will have them run somewhere on the screen here. You'll see, I believe they start at about £6. You can get the singles, doubles, and the new quads all separately as well. They're all pretty cool that you can grab hold of. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this more in-depth review of the X2s. Definitely tried to flesh it out a bit more for you guys. Grab some more information on what happened to the X2 compared to the Certo. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the review. I'm pretty glad that we've got this one out. Managed to have a good play with the X2, see what you guys think as well at home. If you check down in the description, the links will be down there. Tell us what you think, see if you can grab one for yourself as well. Definitely a recommendation from us. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.